Okay, here we go. Hi Lego, can you hear me okay? I can't hear you if you're talking.
No, I can hear you now. What's up?
Yeah, good. I've just noticed you've made many points and I wanted to address them. Um, and you also wanted to run, you wanted me to run Name the Trait on you, is that right?
Yeah, we could start with if you want to address whatever it is that you thought was wrong
Yeah,
prior. Well, I guess we could do it in whatever order you want.
yeah, sure, we can. I'll just state Name the Trait and we can take it from there, okay? I think that would be the most productive way. So the idea is we take it that you're this type of carnist that, um, of course, doesn't find anything unethical with a cow being killed for food, right?
Uh, there could, in some cases, be something wrong with it, but no, generally, I'm okay with eating cows.
Yeah, right. Generally, you're okay with them being killed for food, is the question. Um,
Yeah, I do eat
yeah,
cows.
yeah, but at the same time, like you would find it wrong if we were to kill a human for food in the context that we know today, in the same context that we kill an animal, right? So, for example, if I were to kill your son for food, for example, you're going to charge me with immorality, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, right. Um, so imagine like there is a possible world, which is gonna call this possible world one, um, where your son is being killed with the goal to have some food, right? And then there is another possible world, right? When there is a cow and this cow is being killed for food. Any problem so far?
I'm following you. Is that what you mean by a problem?
Well, I mean, if you have any objections so far, I just want to make sure we are on the same page. I don't want to. I just want to take it step by step. Any issue with
No,
imagining those two possible worlds?
we're on the same page.
Okay, cool. So in between those possible worlds, um, there is there are possible worlds which are amalgamation of those two possible worlds. With with every other possible world, um, the being that is being killed for food um, looks more and more like the cow in the possible world, right?
Right.
Any problems so far?
But I just want to point out for clarity when we're doing these possible worlds, it's not the same being, it's a completely new being in each possible world, right?
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, so I follow. We're on the same page.
Yeah, any objections so far?
No.
Okay, cool. So from the first possible world where your son is, right, to the last possible world where the cow is, um, that's the moral value. Is the moral value lost somewhere?
There would be eventually a possible world where the being killed does not have the moral value of my son. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a yes, right? The moral value will be
it
lost
is. Yeah,
somewhere, right? So you
yeah. At
agree?
a certain point.
Yeah, so you agree there is such point, right? So this is what we say um, when we say there is a trait, right? That's what we mean. So you are holding the position that you can say there is no trait, which would translate to there is no point where value is lost. Can we have a concession now that you think that there is a point?
No, because that's not what I was saying. There's no trait
No,
for.
no,
I
no,
wasn't
no. Look,
saying there's
look,
no.
look, look. We don't care what you were saying. We look. You have
Well,
a
I mean, if you
critique.
don't care what I was saying, well, wait. If you don't care what I was saying, then
I mean, look.
why
You can look,
would I concede if you don't even care what
look,
I was saying? I'm not going
look,
to concede to you
look,
misrepresenting my
look,
position and then not caring what it actually was. Why would
look.
I concede to that?
We don't care. Look, you have a critique of entity, right? You want to run your critique on the proponents of name the trait. If you misinterpret name the trait, right? Then we don't care, right? You're just being wrong with interpreting what we were trying to say. Now you've got the correct interpretation, so I'm asking whether or not that your position has changed now that you know the correct interpretation.
I don't agree with your framing, first of all, because that's not what happened. So, and you don't care what actually happened, is what you just told me. You don't care what I was actually saying. So, why would I change my position when you don't even care what my position actually was?
So is it your position that there is no point where value is lost, or is it your position that the value is lost somewhere?
In the case of these possible worlds, you would ultimately reach a world where the moral value is lost. That's not what you're contrasting, but
hold on.
but before it was a different question, so before doesn't apply.
Let's clear this up. Before you were holding another position, right?
No, it's not that I was holding another position. It was a different question. I had a different answer to a different question.
No. The question is
yes,
the same.
yes, that is.
The question
No, it's not.
Yep.
It's not. No, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it wasn't. It was a different question. So,
look, I mean, if you are so dishonest, I don't know if we ought to continue further. I'm just asking.
Well, I guess we can't continue. It was a different question. It was a different question. So,
no, I'm just asking you to concede either that your interpretation of name the trait was shit, or that your position has changed and now there is a point.
My interpretation is good, and my position has not changed. I was being asked a different question.
So is it your position still that the value isn't lost, that there is no trait?
My position is that there is no trait that would make it okay to kill and eat humans. That's what I said there was no trait for. That's a different question.
Oh, but when it is your son, there is a trait.
No, there's no trait that would make it okay to kill and eat my son.
Oh, there is no trait, so the value isn't lost.
My son's value isn't lost.
No, I'm asking whether or not the value is being lost in the trait equalization process.
I already clarified with you earlier whether or not it was an entirely different being, a new being in each possible world, and you said yes, so that's not even my son any longer.
Right. What's the answer to the question?
The answer to the question is that in the case of possible worlds with entirely new beings that have like a transition of traits, eventually the moral value would be lost. But that's not the question I was answering originally.
Well,
whenever you're contrasting
that's always how
the
trait is being posed. So
it's not how it was posed to me.
So you were confused about the interpretation.
No, I wasn't confused. The person asking the question was confused. They asked a different question, so I had a different answer.
Jensen is here, yeah. And I know how he runs name the trait and what he means. He takes my interpretation. So now that this is clear to you, do you agree that you?
It was never unclear. It was never unclear to me. So
you're just an idiot.
It was never unclear. I'm not an idiot. You asked the question incorrectly. You asked the question incorrectly. That's your fault.
Okay.
That has nothing to do with me.
So if I say something like, you know that there's like multiple ways to say that, the same thing, right? So if I say something and you misinterpret it, that's me saying the thing incorrectly. I got you.
If I
say like,
All right, Jensen, that's fine. We know that already he is dishonest, so let's get to the interest.
You're the one that's being dishonest. You're saying you don't even care what my position actually is. That's you being dishonest, blatantly, openly dishonest. You are as dishonest as they come. You don't care.
Don't overtalk me. I don't care.
Frame it incorrectly, and then.
Listen, I don't care what your shitty interpretation was, right? I've been asked you the question, you gave me the answer, you refuse to concede, right? So you're dishonest, we already know that. So we continue to the next question. Now that you know that there is a point that value is lost, do you have any idea where the value is lost?
All right, I'm going to reiterate that I answered a different question originally. This is a...
we don't care about that. We just care about the answer to the next question. I'm just gonna restate it. Now that you know that the value is lost, that you agree with that, right, in the trade equalization process, do you have any idea of what traits define that point?
All right, I'm going to reiterate that my answers to
We
this
don't
question.
care. We don't care. We just.
Okay, if
just
you don't
want the
care,
answer.
I mean, if you don't care,
You can run.
let me
You
know.
can
Let
run.
me.
Look,
I'll wait. I'm not running. I'm answering. Trying to answer.
yeah,
It's not
what's
running
the,
to try to
what's
answer.
the answer to the question that I've just posed?
So I answered a different question originally, and now I'll
Okay,
answer this
we
new
don't,
Oh,
question.
we don't
dude, just
care
mute
about
any
that.
meta ramble. Don't let him meta ramble.
We don't care about that, right? So I'm gonna restate the question one more time for you. Now that you know that the value is being lost somewhere in the trait equalization process, do you have any idea where the value drops?
So there were two questions posed to me. I had one answer to the original. I have a different answer to the new question.
Yeah,
You acknowledge that, right?
We care what's
Do you
the
understand
answer.
that?
No,
No, it's the same. It's the
Okay.
same question, dude. We just
If it's the same
clarified
question,
the
then I don't need a new
interpretation of
answer.
it. The mean,
If it's
like,
a
dude,
new
if I say a
question,
word, right?
yeah. So
If I say a word that has
are
like
you willing to answer the
potentially
question
different
now?
interpretations, like,
Jensen,
and I
yeah.
clarify the interpretations, that's not me using the wrong word, dumbass.
Jensen, let me
All right.
handle
So
it.
It's you not
So
understanding
you're
the
not
meaning of the
tracking,
word.
buddy. You're not tracking. That's what's happening here.
are you
You're a
willing to
stupid
answer
fucking
the
hick, dude.
question?
I'm trying.
Yeah, go ahead. It's a yes or
Okay.
no?
So this is a new question. For
Yeah,
the
so at
record, this is
what
a new
point,
question.
or at
I mean, I'm trying to talk to
what's
you,
the
but
We
we
care
can't
about
really
the
make
how can
progress
you
unless.
so okay,
Jensen,
so
Jensen,
Lego,
hold on.
Lego.
Lego, let me finish this. Lego, what's the answer to the question? We don't care any meta ramblings at this point. We already concluded you're dishonest.
And you can either accept that and we can move forward, or you can keep saying.
So the only way we can move forward is you answering the question, right? Where in the trade equalization process do you have any idea in the trade equalization process where the value is lost between your son and a cow?
But I'm going to reiterate that this is a new question, not the question I originally answered, that
Are
there
you
was
going
no
to
trait
answer
for
it?
it.
Are you going to answer
I
that
did.
question?
I did answer it already. I did
What's
answer
the
it.
answer to the question?
The answer is yes. I said yes, and then reiterated it
Okay,
that this is a new question, but the answer was yes.
Okay, perfect. What are the traits that define this point? You said you have.
It would be a number. Yeah, I do. So there'd be a number of sufficient traits, one of which would be being human, familial significance. I mean, there's going to be a list of traits. It's not going to be a single point.
I'm typing
Any of
that
these
down.
sufficient traits would be enough.
I've typed the first
What did
trait
you say?
now. I'm writing the trait now. Number 1 is being the human. What's number 2?
Being human is a sufficient trait. Is that what you have wrote down?
Being a human is a sufficient trait. What's the second trait?
Sorry.
And what do you mean by being human? Is it like just a DNA definition or what?
He's a theist, so he takes that human is made in the image of God.
What does that mean?
Am I having a conversation with you, PKD, or is he going to keep interrupting? Because he's not a good interlocutor. Like he's kind of a
Yeah, 'cause
retard. Like I don't really have any
answered you the
interest in
other
talking
day.
to a retard.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Jensen,
okay.
let me deal with that.
Yeah, just make sure he clarifies his terms. That's all my
Jensen,
suggestion would be.
you're a retard. Just let other people
And you're
talk.
a stupid
Okay?
hick that
Just let
fucked his
other
cousin.
people talk.
Yeah,
Let other people
understand.
talk.
You're inbred.
Let other people talk.
Yeah, your inbred brain can't understand anything.
All right,
dude.
PKD. So I guess we're not going to be able to have the conversation. He can't control himself. I don't know if he had too much lead for breakfast this morning or what, but if you're able to like get him to let us talk, that would be cool.
He muted himself now, so what's the second trait?
Okay. All right, now that the retard is out of the conversation, another trait would be capacity for rational thought. If you're a rational actor, that would be sufficient.
What's the third trait?
Capacity for moral judgment and a tendency towards ideally prioritizing the good.
Uh-huh. What's the fourth trait?
Capacity for self-reflection and sophisticated insights or foresights.
Capacity for self-reflection, and there was an end. I take that to be, is that a conjunction? Like, that's a fifth trait, I believe.
Yeah, we could treat that as another trait, another sufficient trait. Okay.
Yeah, what was capacity for self-reflection and?
Sophisticated foresight, like basically you're taking what you're aware of at the moment and creating like a projection of what would happen in the future based off of that. It doesn't have to be accurate. It doesn't. You don't have to be like a.
Being able to make predictions about the future is okay?
Well, no, it doesn't have to be like a true prediction though.
Yeah.
Like you just have to be able to create like a model of what would.
Having the ability
like
to
what's
make
gonna.
prediction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Having the ability to make predictions. Okay. What's the sixth trait?
If you have had in the past or would have a sufficient trait in the future, or if you belong to a species which naturally possesses sufficient traits, that would also itself be sufficient.
Have any of the traits listed in the past? Or belong to a species that have the trait. Okay.
I mean, those. There may be other sufficient traits. That's all I really have that I've come up with at the moment.
Yeah, I've posted those in the side chat. You can read them and let me know if that accurately represents your view.
I'm doing something right now, so I'll just trust that you're able to do that. If we run into an issue, I'll clarify though.
Yeah, I'll just read them to you. Number 1, being a human is a sufficient trait. 2, capacity for rational thought. 3, capacity for moral judgments and tendency for prioritizing the good. 4, capacity for self-reflection. 5, having the ability to make predictions. 6, have any of the traits listed in the past or belong to a species that have the traits.
Yeah, yeah, I think I am. I think. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, okay. So imagine if, like, tomorrow we found out, right, that your son, you're actually not his biological father, right? Like, your wife cheated with, let's say, like the idots in the chat, right? They had intercourse with your wife, and those idots have their genes are like different, such that when we tested your son, he doesn't come back as a human, right? When we did the genetic test, and we actually figure out that he doesn't have any capacity for rational thought, and we figure out that he doesn't make any moral judgments, neither he has a tendency to prioritize the good, he can self-reflect, and he doesn't have the ability to make any predictions, and he never had any of the traits in the past, right? We just had a mistaken belief that he did, right? But now it's crystal clear to us, right, that he doesn't have those. Given that, would it be ethical to kill your son for food? Or so?
No, and I didn't correct you on this on the list because I didn't figure we'd actually be going into this part. But on number 1, an uncanny similarity to humans. Okay. Or if you want me to list the trait in its entirety, possessing an uncanny similarity to humans that would reasonably violate.
Okay. We're gonna
or if it would reasonably violate a cautionary principle.
We're gonna do the revision, but you agree that those traits as listed right now lead you to giving the answer no?
No, my list of traits wouldn't lead you to the answer, but yeah, I guess as you have them listed, it's going to be like your list. How about I just copy paste my list? That way we're not having to quibble over your list.
Look, I read it back to you, right?
Yeah, I could
agree.
just give you the I could just give you the word for word list. Do you want to just go off of my list
So
then?
I just want to figure out this list right now, and then we're gonna go to the other list. I think that's pretty fair. You agree that the traits given at the moment lead to a contradiction, right? Because you are saying no, it wouldn't be ethical to kill your son for food.
Right. I'm saying your list doesn't capture my
No,
position
it's your
properly.
list. Well,
Well,
you
no,
can
I'll
do
just
it
give you
that
my
way.
list.
No, 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 no,
I'll
no, no.
just post my
Hold
list.
on.
What are you talking about? No, it's what?
You gave me your list, right?
No, yeah, and you don't have it wrote
Hold
down
on.
properly, so I could just.
I wasn't finished, right? I wasn't finished. You gave me your list. I read you back the everything, right? That you have written, and all I'm asking you is to acknowledge that this answer is, leading to contradiction. This is your list. You've agreed to that.
My list. I actually said, if you think back, I
No, no, no. Do you agree that the list that you've given leads to a logical contradiction as it stands right now?
because no, there's not a logical contradiction. Your list not properly capturing my position is not a logical contradiction in my position, and I just
No, no, no. Look, I don't understand why are you rambling, right? You gave the traits. I've read them back to you, right? You've agreed. You're on recording, by the way. You've agreed that this list captures your positions. I've read it back to you. Now you are saying no. If your son didn't have those traits, it would be unethical to kill him for food. So I'm saying this list of traits is either false or incomplete. Do you agree with that?
put my list, and we can discuss it if you
No, no,
want to be
no.
on.
The answer to that question starts with yes or a no.
All right, here's my list. I'm putting it in the chat.
We don't care about that.
If you
We don't care.
Okay, if you don't care about my list, that's fine.
I
I'm
mean,
not saying you have to care about my list,
Yeah.
but my list is in the chat now.
Yeah. So what's the answer to my question?
My list is in the chat now.
That's
I already
wrong.
answered your question. I told you.
So okay. So the traits that you've given, that you've asked me to read back to you, I've read them back to you. You agree that this is your list, right? Then I gave you the counter example, and you say no, it's unethical to kill my son if he had those traits, right? So we can revise it after you concede that.
All right, my list is in the chat. I posted.
Look, we are not going to move further until we get a concession.
Concede. You did not capture the position. I posted the list now. You can engage with the list.
Nope. I've read the list back to you, right? You've agreed.
Okay, so you don't want to engage with my list. That's on recording. Good. Okay. Cool.
I want the answer to the question. That's all I want.
All right. You've already said you don't want to engage with my list. So
I want to figure out the list that you gave first, and then we're gonna move to the revision. So
you want me to address the list that you typed up instead of my list?
Nope.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, all right.
So are you running?
Let me know when you're ready to discuss my list.
You can run.
Let me know when you're ready to address it.
We're gonna address it after your concession.
I don't need to concede.
I mean, okay. So I take that if there is no concession, I take that if your son was lacking your traits, it would be ethical to factory farm them under your view.
That's your view. I gave my list.
No, I'm saying that's your view.
Okay, well, I gave my list. Let me know when you're ready to address it.
I'm ready to address it anytime after you concede.
All right, I'll wait.
Yep, I'm here all the time. I'm not going anywhere.
Cool. My list is there, so whenever you're ready to address it, let me know.
After you concede.
I don't need to concede.
We already know that you are dishonest. You've been misinterpreting.
I'm not the one being dishonest. You're blatantly refusing to engage with my actual list.
Look, you gave the list, right? I gave you the counter example, and you are not conceding the list. So I take that, that you still hold the position. Once you concede, we can address the revision. So Jensen, how should I name that video when I post it? Exploring the mind of an idiot? That name
Yeah.
is well.
Maybe. Or like, I don't know, like stepping on Legos and then like
Stepping on
just
Legos.
have like some guy like holding
Like-
his foot
like
in
just-
pain.
Like just can